Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am genuinely glad you are here today because the story we are talking about in this video is one of those crossover moments that makes you stop and realize how far Jimin's presence has traveled, not just across the world geographically, but across cultural spaces that most people assume do not communicate with each other at all. Today we are talking about what happens when American hip-hop reaches across the cultural divide and picks up something from K-pop, not because a label arranged it, not because a management team engineered a strategic collaboration, not because anyone planned it at all, but because a piece of Jimin was simply so iconic, so universally funny and recognizable and beloved, that an American rapper decided to use it as the intro to his official song without any coordination with anyone in the K-pop world whatsoever. So let's get into it. The rapper in question is rylorodriguez, a name that if you are embedded in American hip-hop, particularly in the southern rap scene, you already know and respect deeply. rylorodriguez is one of the most significant voices to come out of Birmingham, Alabama in recent years, an artist whose raw emotional honesty and lyrical depth have earned him a dedicated following in the hip-hop community and consistent recognition from some of the biggest names in the genre. He has collaborated with Lil Baby, one of the most commercially dominant figures in contemporary hip-hop. He has been praised by critics for bringing a specific kind of authentic vulnerability to a genre that does not always make space for that. He is not a peripheral figure in American music. He is a legitimate, recognized, respected voice in one of the most culturally significant genres on the planet. And rylorodriguez used Jimin's Excuse Me audio as the official intro to his song Excuse Me, featuring NoCap, another significant name in southern hip-hop, an artist from Mobile, Alabama whose emotional storytelling has earned him widespread critical praise and a devoted fanbase across the United States. This was not a fan edit. This was not an unofficial remix. This was the official release of a song by two established American hip-hop artists, and it opens with the sound of Jimin saying excuse me in the specific, instantly recognizable way that has been one of the most beloved and most replicated audio moments in all of BTS fandom for years. To understand why this crossover is as significant as it is, you need to understand the history of Jimin's Excuse Me meme, what it is, where it comes from, and why it has had the kind of staying power that allows it to travel across cultural boundaries and land in an American hip-hop song years after it first became a fan favorite. The Excuse Me moment has its roots in the early years of BTS's international expansion, during a period when the members were still actively working on their English language communication and frequently found themselves in situations where they were trying to express something in English with the vocabulary and pronunciation tools available to them at the time. Jimin, in particular, developed a reputation within the fandom for delivering certain English phrases with a specific quality, a combination of his natural Korean accent, his genuine effort to communicate clearly, and his completely authentic personality, that made those phrases land in a way that went far beyond simply communicating the literal meaning of the words. When Jimin said excuse me, he did not just say excuse me. He said it with an energy, a specific intonation, a quality of presence that made the phrase itself into something that fans wanted to hear again and again. The moment spread first through BTS fan communities, where it became a standard reaction template, Jimin saying excuse me deployed as a response to anything from mildly surprising news to the most dramatic fan community discourse. The clip was used in fan edits, in meme compilations, in reaction videos, in comments sections across every platform where BTS content lives. It became part of the shared visual and audio vocabulary of ARMY, one of those reference points that any longtime fan immediately recognizes and responds to with warmth and recognition, regardless of what language they speak or which country they live in. But what makes the Excuse Me meme particularly interesting, and what makes the rylorodriguez moment so meaningful, is that this piece of audio did not stay within the boundaries of K-pop fandom. It migrated. It moved across platforms and across cultural communities in the way that the most genuinely funny, genuinely resonant pieces of internet culture always do, not because anyone deliberately pushed it outward, but because the quality of the moment was universal enough to translate. People who had no prior investment in BTS, who had not followed the group and were not part of ARMY, encountered the audio through the general TikTok ecosystem or through meme culture on other platforms and responded to it simply because it was funny and charming and had an energy to it that required no cultural context to appreciate. A cute, earnest excuse me from a charismatic person, delivered with that specific quality, that is not a K-pop thing. That is a human thing. And that universality is exactly what made it available for rylorodriguez to reach for when he was putting together the intro to his song Excuse Me. The decision to open a southern hip-hop track with Jimin's audio was not, from Rylo's perspective, necessarily a statement about K-pop or about international music culture. It was simply the recognition of a piece of audio that fit the vibe and the title of what he was making. Excuse Me as a track title. Excuse Me as an iconic audio moment that exists in the general internet culture space. The connection was organic, instinctive, and completely unprompted by anything happening in the K-pop world. This is what makes it so significant. When artists collaborate across genres and cultures through formal channels, when a K-pop act features an American rapper, or when a Western pop star appears on a K-pop album, those moments are meaningful and often generate enormous attention, but they happen through the machinery of the music industry. Labels connect. Managers negotiate. Legal teams handle the paperwork. The collaboration is a product of deliberate commercial and creative strategy. It is real, but it is also constructed. What RyloRodriguez did is something different. He reached into the general cultural atmosphere of the internet, found a piece of audio that has been floating around in meme culture for years, and used it the way any creator uses cultural material that has become genuinely communal, because it was there, because it fit, because it was good. He did not need to know the full story of Jimin or BTS to recognize that this audio had something special. The audio had already crossed over. The work had already been done by years of organic cultural spread. Rylo just confirmed it by treating it as available material for his own creative work. Now let's talk about who Jimin is in 2026 and why this moment lands the way it does in the context of everything he is currently doing, because the Excuse Me meme moment does not exist in isolation. It is one data point in a much larger story about how thoroughly Jimin has embedded himself in global popular culture, not just K-pop culture, not just Asian entertainment culture, but the full, messy, interconnected landscape of global internet culture that does not recognize genre boundaries or fan community borders. The Yararang World Tour has been one of the most documented and most discussed world tours of any artist in 2026. From the very first night in Goyang in April through the ongoing European leg, the tour has generated a consistent stream of cultural moments that have spread beyond the BTS fan community into mainstream entertainment coverage, sports media, fashion press, and general social media culture. Jimin specifically has been at the center of a remarkable number of those crossover moments: the Las Vegas braids that reached Telemundo, the Atletico Madrid kit reveal in Madrid that generated football media coverage worldwide, the Brussels fan safety moment that circulated in general entertainment spaces, the Kyeodal pole victory over Tsuyu and G-Dragon, the hair evolution that gave every tour city its own iconic image. Each of these moments works in the same way as the RyloRodriguez Excuse Me situation. Each of them takes something that originates within the BTS fan community, a look, a performance, a human moment, an iconic piece of audio, and demonstrates that it has the quality of universality that allows it to travel outward. The Telemundo anchor adopting Jimin's braids did not know or care about the specific history of the braids within the Yararang tour. She responded to a look that was striking and distinctive enough to be worth replicating on national television. RyloRodriguez reaching for the Excuse Me audio did not necessarily know the history of that meme within BTS fandom. He responded to an audio clip that had the right energy for what he was making. This is what the phrase global IT boy actually means when fans apply it to Jimin. It is not just about popularity within K-pop. It is not just about fan voting numbers or brand reputation indices or chart performance, though Jimin excels on all of those measures as well. It is about this specific quality of cultural presence, the ability to generate moments that travel, that land outside the contexts where they were created, that resonate with people who have no prior investment in the original source. Not every artist has this. Most artists, even enormously successful ones, generate moments that stay within the cultural communities that already follow them. The moments that travel, the ones that reach Telemundo anchors and American hip-hop producers and Argentine city councils, are the product of something more than popularity. They are the product of genuine, universal human resonance. The fan community's reaction to the RyloRodriguez moment was both immediate and nuanced. On the most obvious level, there was simple joy, the delight that comes from seeing something you love show up unexpectedly in a completely different context, the confirmation that the thing you have been devoted to has reached farther than you perhaps even hoped. ARMY discovered the RyloRodriguez "Excuse Me" track and the comment sections filled immediately with messages that ranged from pure screaming excitement to thoughtful observations about what the moment represents. Global IT boy for reason, as the TikTok caption put it, accompanied by a note that Jimin's iconic meme moments will be remembered forever. But there was also something more considered in how fans discussed the RyloRodriguez moment, a recognition of its specific significance as a crossover from K-pop to hip-hop, which is not a crossing that happens casually or that can be manufactured. The relationship between K-pop and American hip-hop is a complex and evolving one. Hip-hop has been one of the primary musical influences on K-pop throughout its development as a genre. The rhythmic structures, the production aesthetics, the vocal delivery approaches that define contemporary K-pop owe enormous debts to American hip-hop's evolution over the past several decades. At the same time, the cultural relationship between the two worlds has not always been frictionless, and genuine organic crossover moments, where hip-hop reaches toward K-pop rather than the other way around, are genuinely rare and genuinely meaningful when they occur. RyloRodriguez using Jimin's audio is, in that context, a small but significant indicator of a shift in how hip-hop culture relates to K-pop culture. It says that something from K-pop has entered the general cultural ecosystem so thoroughly that a hip-hop artist can reach for it without needing to frame it as a K-pop reference, without needing to signal awareness of or allegiance to K-pop culture, simply as available material from the shared landscape of internet culture. That is a real form of acceptance, not the acceptance that comes from a formal collaboration or a label partnership, but the acceptance that comes from simply becoming part of the cultural commons that every creator draws from. The TikTok discovery of the RyloRodriguez track by ARMY and the subsequent viral spread within the fandom is itself a demonstration of how ARMY functions as a cultural intelligence network. Fans across the globe simultaneously encountered this information, cross-referenced it, confirmed it, and amplified it within the span of hours. Comments and duet videos spread the discovery through every corner of the BTS fan ecosystem. People who had never heard of RyloRodriguez before that day found themselves listening to "Excuse Me" and hearing Jimin's voice in the intro of a southern hip-hop track and experiencing the specific kind of delighted dissonance that cross-cultural moments like this produce. K-pop fan. Southern hip-hop. Same song. Same audio. Different worlds meeting in the most unexpected way. The longevity of the "Excuse Me" meme within BTS culture is itself worth reflecting on, because it represents something important about the nature of Jimin's relationship with his fanbase. The moments that become lasting memes are never the big, staged, deliberately iconic moments. They are always the small, unguarded, genuinely human ones, the moments where someone's real personality breaks through the performance and lands in a way that is impossible to forget. Jimin saying "Excuse Me" in that specific way was never meant to be iconic. It was just him, being himself, communicating in a language he was still learning, with the specific combination of effort and personality and natural charm that defines who he is in every context, on stage and off. And that naturalness is exactly why it has lasted. You cannot manufacture that quality. You cannot reproduce it strategically. It exists because Jimin is genuinely, consistently, authentically himself, and when that authentic self shows up on video, it generates moments that people want to keep and share and use and eventually, apparently, sample in hip-hop intros. As the Ararang World Tour continues and as Jimin's cultural footprint expands with every new city and every new crossover moment, the "Excuse Me" meme and a RyloRodriguez track will stand as a small but telling data point in the story of how one person from Busan, South Korea became genuinely embedded in the fabric of global popular culture, not through strategy, not through industry engineering, but through the simple and powerful fact of being exactly who he is, consistently, across years of public life, in every language and in every context, until the world could not help but notice. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content covering Jimin, BTS, and all the moments where K-pop and the rest of global culture meet in ways nobody expected. Drop a comment below and tell me, when you first heard that RyloRodriguez used Jimin's "Excuse Me" in his song, what was your reaction? I want to know everything. I will see you in the next one.